So a new series called Hellbound has recently got on my radar, currently sitting at 5 chapters, but if you read ahead with FastPass, there is a total of 23 chapters, and I want to keep it real with all of you. I wasn't able to control myself, and I read ahead to the latest chapter before I sat down and wanted to do this first impressions, because it was quite the read. I mean, I'm a fan of dark stories, dark fantasy, or just stories that really just dive into the nitty-gritty of humanity and all that. It's something I've always been fascinated about. It's why I eventually read Berserk, why I read Tokyo Ghoul, why I read Sweet Home recently, and Shotgun Boy. I love those type of themes. I love themes that really just make you think about morals, makes you think about like dark philosophy. There's a lot to really take from stories like that, and if there's anything you want to take away briefly from this video, is I'm going to say, if you're a fan of dark stories, then you're definitely going to probably enjoy Hellbound. I 100% recommend at least giving it a shot. And if you're still on the fence about it, I'm actually going to show a brief preview trailer actually that Webtoon sent me that I could show all of you if you're actually interested. So I want to let that play and I'll get back to you guys in a moment.
The original series behind Netflix's Hellbound.
Repent! Repent now!
Some give in to the prophecy, and others fight it. When our cry for help is finally heard, flee from your prophesized death. Hellbound, only on Webtoon.
So yeah, that trailer to Hellbound, I want to keep it real with all of you. I was kind of blindsided by that trailer as well, because I actually didn't watch that until like I was already caught up with Hellbound. So seeing some of the moments that happened throughout the series, even some of the FastPass episodes, animated, I was like, whoa, that's kind of shocking. And I was just like, this is really good editing to get people pumped up for, let's say, reading a series. And I like that. I really love the actual trailer to Hellbound. I feel like it got the point across of the intensity of what to really expect. But if you want me to dive into even more of the nitty-gritty, I'm about to do so. So Hellbound, if you still have a lot of questions on what it's actually about, it's pretty much about characters or individuals in the society that get a notice from an angel. This angel says their name, tells them when they will be sent to hell, and they or know they're going to go to hell. And that's pretty much the entire premise of Hellbound, and the entire title of the series actually makes sense when you think about Hellbound. You're bound for hell. And to kind of extend upon this, because of people getting these demonstrations, or people think they're demonstrations from God or angels, etc., you have it to where people are forming religious groups around this demonstration and are using it to propagate like what they want or their vision on what you should do to live righteously. And it's a really thought-provoking series, because it's like, what would happen hypothetically, like if we're going to hypothetical, if something like this was to happen in real life? Like, if you all of a sudden started seeing people have like an angel pop up in front of them saying you're going to be going to hell in 4 hours from now or 20 years from now, whatever the case may be, and then when that time actually ticks to that point, you see these demons come out of nowhere chasing people down and then sentencing them to hell itself. It just makes you feel like, what would society do if this actually happened? And I feel like the beginning chapters of Hellbound perfectly depict on what you would expect from society when this starts to happen. For instance, you would have those individuals that just wouldn't believe it, which would make sense, because it's like with video effects and all that, people can easily fake stuff with CGI nowadays and voices and everything, so it's pretty easy to really fake stuff. And so most of the public at the start would probably think, yeah, it's fake. It's just really good video effects and all that, good CGI, and that's what's going on here. But as more and more of this comes out and more of it becomes public, eventually it's going to be very hard to contain. It's going to be very hard to keep the public from really freaking out and causing chaos. And obviously, because of this, you know, you have different groups that are forming, like the New Truth Society that is kind of propagating that you should live more righteously, or you have Arrowhead that's more of an extremist faction of that group that just wants to, you know, actually dox people, which is just really like, whoa, like the series really just goes full on in on different aspects of humanity and morals, and I really like what this series does. It is not a series for everyone, by the way. Like, it is dark, it is mature, and if these type of themes and stories are not your thing, it's not going to be for you. But as someone that really loves Berserk and loves Tokyo Ghoul, Sweet Home, and Shotgun Boy, and so many other series that are really good for being dark, this is that type of series for me. But to kind of get a little bit deeper, I want to, talk about one of the big aspects that this series is trying to kind of talk about, and that is, are people born good or evil? I feel like this is the biggest question that's asked early on in the story, is that when people do evil things, and a character says this, the leader of the New Truth Society talks about it. He's like, when people do evil acts, like they either blame it on their circumstances of life, for instance, their upbringing, they blame it on maybe illness, they blame it on, let's say, something else that's an external factor. They never want to actually say it's just them. They shift the blame to everything else around them, and they kind of say, like, it's not really my fault, it's thanks to this happening to me is why I'm like this. And the character kind of talks about that. He's like, are humans really just born empty? And only external factors are what actually shapes and changes you? And it's a very big moral debate and dilemma, honestly, because this is a question that has been discussed a long time throughout humanity. Are people born good or evil? And this is a debate I've had, honestly, with a group of friends in the past as well. Is like, do you think inherently people are just born bad and we get good qualities because we learn the act of kindness and goodwill? Or are we born good and we learn the act of evil because, we see evil things around us? Or are we born, empty and we are shaped by the very events around us? Personally, I feel like people are shaped from the things around them, external factors. And so the way the New Truth Society, the leader, was trying to explain it is that he believes that humans inherently are born evil. That's what he truly believes. And that he believes that no human is really born good. You have to learn to be acts of good. And you also have to learn to control your evil within your very soul. That's kind of what he implies with his speech. And it's a very interesting question and debate, and I love the philosophy that's in this series that really just makes you think. And to kind of go one step further with this, we have another situation with Arrowhead. Arrowhead is an extremist faction, a part of the New Truth Society, and they are individuals that, go even further than the New Truth Society in terms of what they believe in. Arrowhead, they actually just straight up, if you are an evil person, or if you've gotten, let's say, sent a message from an angel that you'll be condemned to hell in maybe 4 hours to 20 years or whatever, they will literally dox your entire information. They'll just throw everything out there for everyone to know, and then they will take it upon themselves to kind of punish you, which I feel like is really not the way of what the meaning of the demonstrations, or at least the judgment from the angels, actually are. Because if we look at it from a different way, the angels that are telling the message are obviously just saying you're going to be going to hell. And then the entities that appear isn't necessarily angels, they're just demons of hell, probably dragging someone down to the very bottom fiery pits. And so it's not necessarily the angels that are doing that, and kind of they're misinterpreting the entire work. And what the New Truth Society actually says about it, the leader, he's like, they distort his very words. And I do agree with that. They do distort his message, his words, because they take it upon themselves to dish out the punishment when it's not necessarily their job to do. They're more of just should learn from this and actually try to figure out what they can do to better themselves as well, which this gets into another topic, and that is fear. And this is something that's also brought up early on, is that what is the biggest motivator for someone to change? The biggest motivator for someone to be righteous? That is fear of consequence. And I feel like this is a really big one. And I was just like, it is true. I've seen this topic brought up many times, is that a lot of people will, let's say, be scared and fear, and they'll try to do the right thing because of it. And he basically says one of the biggest motivators is fear itself. And, the fear of that you could have a message from God, like an angel come in and say, hey, you're going to be going to hell, and, 2 days from now, would be absolutely frightening. So nobody wants to deal tell that they have fear of that subconscious fear, and so they're willing to do the right thing. Fear keeps them in check. And so there is a lot to take away from Hellbound as a series, and I feel like it's very unique, and it definitely isn't something that shies away from the very hard subjects. I appreciate that. I appreciate offers that are willing to actually dive into stuff like that, because I feel like not a lot of offers do, because they feel like they're going to step on people's toes, but I appreciate offers that are willing to dive into some very hard subjects and very big, thought-provoking topics that I've always been interested in. But I'm going to leave it at that, though. Overall, Hellbound, I 100% recommend it. Even though Webtoon is the one that put this series on my radar, I am very happy with the read I've done, and I 100% recommend you guys to check it out. And if you are interested in reading Hellbound, link is in the description, and if you click on that link, it does help me out. I just want to make sure I clarify on that. But I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoy my content, subscribe. It'll allow you guys to see more of my content in your YouTube feed. And if you want to get, actually notified for whenever I upload a video, click that bell icon down below. But with that, guys, Chibi out.